We've all heard it before. Back in my day, we studied harder. We were more prepared. We knew our craft inside out. It's a sentiment that comes up in almost every industry, from aviation to engineering to medicine. And it's not just casual talk in the break room. Many experienced professionals genuinely believe that younger recruits today come in with less technical knowledge, that they study less, and that they are not as prepared for the job. I mean, I was working with a captain on a flight, and he's actually an examiner on simulator check rides. And I asked him, is there something that us newer generations are not quite as prepared for, or any commonalities that you see in a negative sense in the new recruits? And he thinks for a minute. He thinks and he says, "Yes, I'm pretty sure you are not very knowledgeable on the things that you should know." And he doesn't just say that, he also adds that he and his peers at our age were more prepared when they got in for the job. Now, I thought about this for a while now. It's been a few days, and I've done some research. It seems like there's a few reasons why he may have said this. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't true, I'm saying there's probably also other factors at play. So, part of this is what I like to call the memory trap. When we look back at our own early careers, we tend to remember the top performers, the ones who stayed. They learned quickly and excelled. But what about the ones who weren't prepared? They often left early or simply faded into the background. Now, over time, our memory edits out these less capable people, leaving behind a golden image of a past generation that was better than the present one. So that's number one. Number two is training has actually changed. In the past, much of technical preparation was knowledge heavy. You memorized systems, procedures, limitations because you had to. You couldn't just pull out a tablet or scroll through a digital manual or the internet on your job site. Today's recruits, they often learn differently. They're trained to follow structured processes, to rely on checklists and automation, and to find the right information quickly rather than to commit everything to memory. So that shift can actually make them appear less knowledgeable to those who were trained the old way, even if, in practice, they can solve the same problems. Now, there's also another factor. There's the environment that young people are growing up in. I mean, we live in a world of constant notifications, endless feeds, and information overload. I mean, deep focus, the kind that you need to study a complex technical concept, has become harder to protect. So it's not that young professionals don't care, it's that their attention is actually under siege. Now, this is no justification for studying less, but it is a real threat. So maintaining the kind of uninterrupted study time that was normal 30 years ago now requires active effort and a lot of discipline. Also, values have actually shifted. This is another big point. Motivation hasn't just disappeared. We're not just less motivated. It's just that the motivation points in different directions. So what does that mean? There's actually studies that show that millennials and Gen Zers value meaningful work and healthy work-life balance more than sheer technical mastery for its own sake. And that basically means they study what they need for the job, but then they won't necessarily spend their evenings buried in manuals unless they see a clear personal reason for it. For older generations, that might look like, less passion, but it can also be conscious choice to avoid burnout and keep a broader perspective on life. Because life is not only made up of your work, it's also made of other things like, life itself, your free time, what you do with it. Now, let's be fair. Sometimes the knowledge gap is actually real. And some young professionals actually do not know as much as their older colleagues did when they were in their place. In certain industries, there's been a measurable drop in specific technical knowledge among new hires. And the cause, though, is rarely laziness. It's usually a mismatch between what schools or academies teach and what the job requires, or a lack of hands-on exposure before joining the workforce. And we've seen this, and it's become a meme now, that the companies are looking for experienced professionals, but there's no way to get experience because everybody's looking for experienced professionals. In aviation, for example, some airlines have noted that recruits who are perfectly capable of operating an aircraft within procedure, but they're less confident when asked in-depth theory questions about systems that they rarely touch in daily operations. And this could be for several factors, but I think that a main one is economics. And so, what I mean by that is that training organizations and companies will train their employees in a way that's more economical. They will only teach them what's strictly necessary and rarely dive deep into things that are not strictly necessary. And that will be to lower costs of training. It will take less time and it will take less effort and less resources to train people if you teach them only the things that are actually required for the job. It will actually be, from a management perspective and financial perspective, very efficient. And that's one of the reasons why also there could actually be a real knowledge gap. So to close this off and give you a balanced view, are younger generations actually less knowledgeable? Well, in most cases, the answer is not exactly. They may not know all the same things that older professionals knew at the same stage, but they often bring different strengths: adaptability, quick information retrieval, and comfort with complex technology. So rather than frame it as less prepared, it might be more accurate to say that young people are prepared differently. And if we want to close any real gaps, the solution isn't nostalgia, it's mentorship, it's better updated training, and environments that encourage deeper focus and continuous learning. So, yeah, thank you for listening to this video, and we'll see you in the next one.